J. Greenroads, aka Hemp Mentor. I am interviewing EJ's mom. I'm here with EJ. He just turned 6 years old. He's adorable. He's huge, and we're gonna talk about how EJ. We're gonna talk about a little bit about EJ's story and how we're. Yeah, what's up, EJ? EJ got something important to say. Hold up.
Scared of sharks.
Oh, he's scared about the sharks? He's this shark right here. You see that guy? That guy's huge. That guy, I'm scared of him too.
He is this huge.
He's big. EJ's huge too. So we're gonna talk about EJ's story, and we're gonna go over what his story is, how CBD, how hemp CBD has helped him, if it's helped him at all. And we're going to learn more about Jenny. Jenny is EJ's mom. We're going to learn about her experience giving CBD to her son, EJ. And we're going to go over that. Great, so let's get started. So this Jenny.
Hello,
is EJ's mom. And Jenny, I want to start off with who is EJ?
EJ is my son. He's a very inquisitive, wild little boy. Likes to climb the walls and just be all over the place. I'm surprised he's sitting still right now for us. But he just picked me this flower outside.
That's so awesome.
Loves his mom. Yeah.
Awesome. And what is EJ's story?
Well, December 2015, his dad was taking him up to Georgia to go see his sisters, and he's called me and he's like, EJ's drooling a lot. And I was like, okay, well, and, he described what it was, but he was just drooling. That's all it was. And it was just like profusely drooling. So I was like, you need to take him to the hospital because he doesn't do that. And he's like, no, I think he's all right, whatever. So then the next day he did it again. So I was like, you have to take him to the hospital now. So he took him to the hospital. And that's when we found that he had a tumor, and those drooling episodes were seizures. So that's how his seizures started. So I flew up there. It was like Saturday night, was there Sunday. That's when they confirmed that it was a tumor. And that's what started our journey here. We tried with pharmaceuticals to get everything under control with the seizures. The first initial plan was, as long as the tumor doesn't grow, we're not going to touch it. We're not going to, because of where it's placed, it's right next to his speech and language, and it's non-resectable. They won't do any surgery because of where it's located. So, like, if they make one wrong move, he could be a vegetable. So they're like, nobody will touch it.
Risk.
So as long as it doesn't grow, we're not doing any treatment as long as it doesn't grow. So as long as we keep the seizures under control. So that was the main focus. So we tried, medicine after medicine. For about 2 to 3 months, we went through medications to see what would work, how many times a day, how many different medications. And just every week I was on the phone with the neurologist, just back and forth. And I eventually asked her, I'm like, is there ever going to be, like, are they ever going to stop? Like, is there a goal here, or you're just, like, guessing, or, like, what? And she said, no, they should stop, so it ended up, so December all the way until April.
December, what year?
2015.
2015, okay.
April, she ended up hospitalizing him for the seizures because he just started having 2 to 3 a day, then 3 to 5, then 5 to 7, and it just kept increasing. He was having like 8. And I was just like, what are we going to do? No, a day.
A day.
8
a day. 8 seizures a day.
Yeah. So then she's like, okay, we're going to put him on a video EEG machine. That's where they put electrodes all over his head. So 5 days she had him on an EEG machine. So that means you have to be in the hospital bed for 5 days with this kid. A nightmare. So she played around with medicines. She would give him like I don't know if you know an IV bag, but they call them like boluses full. So they would just try to, bring up his levels to just give him as much medication at one time to see if it would work. That's like the fastest way to do it, through an IV feed. And it just wasn't working. So it went from, we went in there going in with 6 to 8 seizures, and then 8 to 10, and then 10 to 12 in the hospital with all these medications. Wow. And I was just like freaking out. that's when we did our MRI, because like every 6 weeks they were doing an MRI to see if there's any growth, and then there was some growth, there was some enhancement. So then they're like, okay, we need to do a biopsy. We need to see what kind of tumor this is and what potential treatment we can do for it. So we did the biopsy, and that's when they diagnosed him with a grade 2 astrocytoma. That's what kind of tumor he has. Eventually, we were hospitalized for 2 weeks just with the seizure issue, and then they finally released us after the biopsy, about 4 days after. And we only got him down to, like, let's say 2 or 3 in the day. So we went
From 8?
Well, we went from 8 to 12 a day, and then back down to 3. So then they're like, okay, so it's improving, so we'll let you guys go home. That was 2 weeks.
How long were the seizures? How long did they
Okay,
last?
so each seizure was about 1 to 2 minutes long. Yes.
Get the game out.
Okay. So each
So cute.
seizure was about 1 to 2 minutes long, and then it'd take him like 3 to 5 minutes to like recover back from the seizure, because after he has on his speech, he couldn't speak at all. He would just be like, like he would try to speak, but he couldn't speak. His balance was off. He couldn't walk. Everything. So we left the hospital. Here you go, EJ. We left the hospital with him having still 3 seizures a day, or 4, and then I was just like, I changed his diet, like in January, right when he was diagnosed. I changed his diet completely to more organic, raw, non-processed food. I started doing essential oil therapy with him, but I was completely against medical marijuana. I was completely against it. I thought it was BS, honestly, and I was, my mom mentioned it to me. I'm like, Mom, no, we're not doing that. Like, the doctors would have mentioned it to us if it was something. Take him out of pre-K. He couldn't go to school anymore because he was just falling down all the time, having seizures. So, I told the doctors, I'm like, listen, I want to try this marijuana. I didn't know the difference between CBD from this to that. I didn't know anything. I said I wanted to try cannabis oil. And then they kind of like danced around and they said, we don't have enough research behind it. We don't know if it's going to work, and we don't do that. That's pretty much what they said. We don't do that. And I was just like, okay, well, I said it once, and then the next time I came, I mentioned it again. She was just like, no, we don't do that. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to just move across the country because it's an avenue I want to, explore before anything else. Oh, not to put down any doctors, but I feel like I asked him, what are your success rates? He said, well, we've never shrunk it before, but we stop it from growing. And I was like, well, if it's not growing, then what's the point of doing that? Because there was a little enhancement in like April, and then in June it disappeared. So I was like, if it's not growing, then what is the point of doing this? So June 26th, I remember it was 2 days before my birthday. They wanted me to start, and I was able to say no, because I thought it was ridiculous that you don't even have any success with it. So why are we going to do it? So after we got out of the hospital, like I said, one of the doctors, she's like, okay, let me talk to some people and I'll see what I can, do for you. So she talked to another doctor, talked to another doctor that led me to Green Roads. So that was May, this time, last year, right before his 5th birthday.
2016.
2016, right before his 5th birthday. So it's like the anniversary mark right now of a year on Green Roads. And it took me months to get to the point where we're at now. In the month of April, EJ just went 21 days seizure-free. Out of the 30 days of April, 21 were seizure-free. The frequency has gone down drastically. The intensity of the seizures, they were lasting like a minute or 2 long. They're now less than 5 seconds long.
That's amazing.
So like as soon as it starts, it stops. I don't even have the time to like run and get an oil to make it stop, because it stops. It's amazing. It's amazing to have seen just over a year's time, It's like, it's helped, like the CBD, it helps with the side effects of the other pharmaceutical medications. He was on about 5 different medications, including a steroid. And they made him very aggressive, very, like, his emotions, he couldn't control. Like, whatever emotion he was feeling it 100%. So if he was mad, he was like the Hulk. If he's happy, he's super happy, but it was just intense. Like, every moment is very intense for him, and this CBD will level him out, like, completely.
While he was taking the pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, right now he was, like I said, he was on 5. He's now down to 2. I think once I can tell the doctor, okay, he's gone like 30 days seizure free, I want to start weaning him off. That's what she's kind of waiting for. And then I can't wait to get him off of it. But because his tumor is there, that's why he has seizures. It's not like he has epilepsy. It's the tumor, you know. So, also, the best news about the tumor, back in January of 2017, this year, the small hole in the tumor formed. A small hole.
A small hole.
And then in April, it doubled in size. So, I mean, his tumor is about 3 inches big, 2 to 3 inches big. So it's like that big. But it's a tiny hole that formed. But the point is, it's, you know, it's
reducing, yeah.
It's reducing. So it's working, you know. I do herbal teas with him, and I have hemp root that I boil, and he drinks that every day too, along with a couple other herbs. But I mean, hemp and CBD is also ultimately what it all comes down to. That's what's made the total difference with him. He was able to go to kindergarten this year. You know, he's completely normal now. Whereas last year, this time, you know, I was like, everywhere he was, I was right there because I was just waiting for him to have a seizure. It's like night and day in a year's time. Like complete night and day. It's amazing. It's nothing short of amazing. It really, and just because, also I was completely against it, you know, and I just felt so stupid. Like I should have been doing this, you know. Like I feel like I wasted a couple months when I could have, you know, been doing all this other stuff. But now when he has his seizures, it's only after he falls asleep, so he's safe in his bed. He's not falling down. He's not hitting his head, you know. I used to not even take him to the park anymore because he would, you know, be playing up on the structure, and then if he would fall down, you know. It's like little things that you don't even think about until you're in the situation. Swimming, anything, you know. He still hasn't learned how to swim, but this summer he's going to learn how to swim. But because I was going to put him when it all happened, but he's like getting back to normal, you know. It helps him, and he knows it, you know. In times where he gets put under for his MRIs, and he has all those, they have to put him to sleep, obviously, to stay still for his MRIs, and anesthesia and the other medicines, they knock him out. And I'll be there for like 2 hours. At first, it would take him like 2 hours just to wake up from it. And then, because I always have to give him more because he moves. Even when he's sedated, he moves. So they always have to give him more. So it's harder for him to wake up. And then I remember one time Arby had mentioned how CBD will actually take high feelings away from you if you're ever to whatever. So now after his MRIs, as soon as they tell me, go ahead, you can try to wake him up, I put it on him, and even when he's knocked out, it's a familiar taste. He tastes it. He wakes him up, like initially, like right away. It wakes him up.
I saw that you put the 1500 on his palm.
Oh yeah, that one time.
And you rub it on his palm, and it's he woke up right away.
You saw exactly, yeah. That was the second time I did it, and then the first time I was like, man, I wish I filmed it. So this time I did it. It's amazing. It's like amazing to watch. It's so crazy. My dad was there with that. He's like, you're gonna get in trouble. The nurses are gonna see. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like he's like. And I obviously did after speaking with Arby and then learning about CBD, that's when I started looking into it like a lot more. And then I was like, okay. And then I saw that for seizures, actually, high CBD strains is better for epilepsy and seizures. So that's why I stuck with it.
And EJ's behavior, you said, completely changed. I mean, he would get emotionally angry or very happy on the pharmaceuticals, and the CBD basically balanced him out.
He balanced out, yeah. Because everybody's able to manage their feelings, but the number one thing the doctors warned me about was behavioral issues when giving him this medication.
The pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, that was the first thing. But they're like, you know, just brace yourself. That's what they pretty much told me, you know. And I had to. And it was not only just mad or sad or happy, it's just sad. Like whatever he was feeling, it was full throttle. And it's hard to, you know, when you're really upset about something, it's hard to even just get through your day or whatever your task that you're doing. If you're really sad, like he was sitting crying, you know, if he was upset about something. So it's helped in so many different angles, so many different ways that it's hard to even list all of them. It's just made our life so much better, like so much more normal, as like the way it was before all of this. You know. And then the doctors, you know, now there's not much they could say. You know, it's anecdotal evidence, so. That's what they always refer back to that, you know, just because it worked for EJ doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. Like, they'll still say that. But, you know, they trust, I have a, you know, rapport with them now, and they trust that I do what I say with him, and I'm very fortunate that I haven't, you know, a lot of parents are forced into awful things. I've been very, very fortunate with him and treatments and being able to not, you know, to refuse. I guess because it hasn't been like growing out of control, you know. So it's been good.
How much CBD does EJ take in a day?
He's taking, this is the other part of it. Most people they you know, they try a couple drops and like, oh, this doesn't work, like, you know. So like I said, it took me months to get to the point where I'm at now. He's like at just over 2.5 mLs 4 times a day.
2.5 mLs 4 times a day.
Of the 1,500.
1,500. So he takes roughly around 2.5.
I don't know.
100 is 2 mLs and a half. So he takes roughly around
This amount.
a little bit over 100.
That. So it's almost a full syringe.
Yeah.
4 times a day.
4 times a day.
Yeah. 8, 2, 6, and 11. That's when he takes.
And I love how you carry his medicine. It's
I
like
have to.
it's I could tell that you like it's evident that this works.
Yeah.
You know, because
I
you
don't
want to be
leave-
carrying the medicine with you.
Mm-hmm. I don't leave the house without it.
And have you talked to any mothers or anybody else having a similar situation?
With you guys, I get phone calls all the time. I told Arby to give, you know, any parents inquiring with you guys my phone number. And I talk to a lot of different moms who start with the products. I help them with dosaging because, you know, I just share my experience with them. And there was a lady recently, I think you guys shared her story the other day.
Emma?
Nina. Her son is Aiden.
Aiden, yeah.
What a story that is. He was, since he was like 18 months, he had every kind of seizure. So like grand mal, like EJ doesn't have grand mal, he has complex partial seizures. And but this kid has everything since he was 18 months. He's 4 now. And I think she's in New York, and she started him with medical marijuana, but he was still having seizures, even on, you know, with the RSO and, you know, all that stuff. And she's in New York, and some guy who gave her some CBD. She didn't know where he got it. She got it from, but it was Green Road CBD.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but the only way she knew how to get it was just from, you know, this guy. You know, like a
the plug.
Right? And you know, one time, like, they noticed it was working, and then they're like, oh my God, you know, their son was going seizure free when he was having seizures all day long. You know, I don't remember exactly how many he was having a day, but one day they couldn't find the guy, and then she like started, I guess, looking at the bottle and looking up how to get in touch, and then she ended up speaking with Ivy, and then I ended up speaking with her, and the kid goes 5 days seizure free now, and he'll have a grand mal seizure at night after he falls asleep, like EJ. So Ivy was like, talk to Jen because she has the same thing with EJ, but so that's something I'm interested in. But they're both doing the same thing. Like EJ will go 5 to 6 days seizure free, have a one that's less than 5 seconds long, and then that'll be it.
Usually at night.
For EJ. Well, after he falls asleep. So it could be a nap in the daytime.
Okay.
Or it could be at night. It's not only nighttime.
Night.
You know, too. But I didn't know. I didn't realize CBD will take a high feeling away. I had no idea. It's the complete opposite.
Complete opposite of THC.
Yeah. I've had like a few too many drinks and taken a little bit, and I'm fine. Like, it's amazing. It's completely amazing. Not at all. Doesn't make him.
I mean, you're the mother. You know more than anybody.
Yeah. Not at all. his appetite, it was a problem, his appetite, and now he's eating everything in sight. And like everything. We haven't been hospitalized since. We haven't had an ER visit. None of that stuff. I mean, I used to trust what the doctors told me. You're supposed to be able to go to the doctor and believe what they're telling you is the best thing for your child. You're supposed to. You shouldn't have to second guess your doctors. But I mean, in my experience, I've found that they're doing a lot of guessing. They just put certain symptoms together and they're just guessing. Every person is different. Everybody reacts to medications differently. And that's what they do with everybody. They see it, well, does this work for you? Oh, no, let's try this. Every week I was on the phone with that lady. Every week. Sometimes
Thank you for tuning in, guys. Together, we push the hemp and cannabis industry forward. Subscribe to my email newsletters and opt in my social media platform channels to keep up with industry news, updates, and trends. Together, we push the hemp and cannabis industry forward. Thank you for your support.